Namaste, angels. Thank you for joining, liking, sharing, subscribing, commenting, all the many ways that you do support me and my channel and the videos. I do appreciate it. Please do share them because YouTube sure doesn't. Okay. Catch. Anyway, this is a divine masculine energy, November 19th, King Osiris, pick a card reading. So, if you have a divine masculine out there in the world that you're aware of or that you're not aware of, you feel connected to somebody that's out there in the ethers, you have no idea who they are, or you have somebody that you feel is your divine masculine, they're at your side, you're in separation, whatever the case may be, or your own inner masculine, as we are all androgynous at the soul level. We all have an inner masculine and an inner feminine. Both archetypes, us all, we all have them. All right. So that's for whom this reading is. The masculine side, your inner masculine, or your masculine with whom you identify as your soulmate, your twin flame, your divine partner. That's who I'm talking about here. There are 4 different piles that you can see. The cards that I'm using are masculine cards. Like I said, this is in honor of King Osiris, November 19th. They're all masculine cards with masculine and or male deities on the cards. I'm also, I've also put a romance oracle card there for each pile. This is selenite. This is Himalayan rock salt. This is orange selenite. And this is rainbow obsidian. So while I'm talking, you can pick and decide and figure out which one you want to use. But I'm going to read a bit of this card that is for all of us. It is Ra. For me, and as it was told to me by King Osiris and Queen Isis themselves, Ra is representative of the sun and therefore the sign Leo. So he could be showing up here because of strength, power, the ability to forgive, to have compassion. That requires significant strength to be able to forgive and to let something go and not harbor ill feelings or guilt or blame, to yourself. Decide to cut ethereal cords before they're even formed. That requires a significant amount of strength, and that is what Ra represents. But again, a Leo or that energy, this, the sun may be particularly significant to you and or your mate, your masculine at this time. These cards, this deck is called Gods and Titans. That's the way it looks on that side. This is the way the Ra card looks on this side, of course. It is by Stacy DeMarco with illustrations by Jimmy Manton. Ra, power. Know that you have power and it is real. This card is an invitation to be your most vital self and to develop your power from the inside out. Ra is the embodiment of power, creative power, solar power, power in leadership, and physical power. So powerful was Ra within the Egyptian pantheon that his identity was often combined and fused with other gods' identities. Pharaohs were known as sons of Ra as reference to their omnipotence, and all considered Ra a father figure. Ra as a deity is an ancient one, but not until the 4th or 5th dynasties did his cult grow to become one of the most commanding. It was then that he inspired huge constructions, including temples, public spaces, pyramids, and tombs, most of them aligned to the cycles of the sun. This is all very, very true. However, Osiris has the 2 largest tombs ever found in the world, and that's just the hashtag fact. Okay? Anyway, Ra's worshippers created, practiced, and recorded beautiful and magical prayers, rites, and invocations of all kinds. Many still survive today. One of the most recognized solar deities of almost any culture, Ra is the personification of the sun, in particular the setting sun, as it travels beneath the underworld to resurrect itself at dawn. The ancient Egyptians knew how much their survival and that of all beings relied upon the blessings of the sun, so Ra was an integral part of their spiritual life. The mighty Ra calls us to power up and to become fully alive. When we feel drained or powerless, we're not honoring our birthright. When it seems like our lives are being controlled by rules and what others ask or tell us to do, it is an easy time to feel powerless. True power is always a pure and good force, and we find it by looking inward. Developing practices that enable us to increase our inner power, for example, meditation or spellcraft, can help us to retain a good level of energy. This means we can feel empowered even under difficult circumstances. When we don't feel like we're in control of a certain situation, we need only to look inward to see that we do have true power over how we deal with and respond to situations, meaning that we always have power in our own lives. Ra also calls us outside to receive the blessing of the sun. We need the sun's rays to set off essential chemical reactions in our body, such as the production of vitamin D. You guys know how I feel about vitamin deficiency. It is real, okay? It's a serious thing. And without this, we can feel tired and even confused. Yep, real confused, okay? And other worse things can happen. Shadow side, power can corrupt those who do not channel it well. Yes, there's a saying, right? Absolute power, corrupts absolutely, or something like that. Anyway, abuse of power can occur anywhere, on teams, in families, in groups of friends, at a job, within governments, and it's damaging on so many levels. Ensure that you're not part of the problem and that you're not disempowering others. Corruption empowers just a few and is, of course, answerable to the laws of Ma'at and to man. I think I may have read the whole card. Yes, I did. All right, so have you picked in that time that I was reading? For those of you who picked the white or clear selenite, your romance card is playfulness. To recapture romance, allow your inner youthful spirit of fun to shine. If you're trying to figure out how to do it, don't approach somebody with heavy stuff. You know, sometimes when you're feeling like, what's that song that Drake song, Marvin's Room, I think it was called, right? Yeah, where he like he was writing texts and calling the girl and talking crazy when he was drunk and stuff. Like, don't unload like a whole bunch of stuff. Just very light, like, hey, what's up? You know, that's how you're going to want to approach the person. Or, I mean, you can come up with your own thing, but make sure that it's lighthearted, that you're not, you know, if you're texting, you're not typing a paragraph. It's not a bunch of heavy shit that the person's going to receive like out of nowhere and be like, what the hell? No, just like, hey, how you doing? What's going on? Thinking about you, those sort of things. Playfulness, lighthearted energy, like a mutable sign, Gemini, Virgo, Pisces, and Sagittarius. Your God is Ganesha, Lord Ganesha, obstacles. So this is about obstacles being lifted, and actually an energy, now it wasn't Lord Ganesha, but an energy representative of obstacles being lifted showed up in the weekly love reading. If you have not seen it, it is posted. And, you know, I got to tell people about it because YouTube doesn't. So I got to do it. I'm actually going to pick pile number 2 for myself too, because I never pick. I'm in the mood to pick. 2 for 11. You guys know I'm a gambler. So I didn't use any intuitive whatever, and I promise you I didn't look at the cards. I'm finding out what they are just as you are. Anyway, Ganesha, obstacles. Obstacles are removed or placed for good reason. Invite in a drama-free life. See, if I knew ahead of time and I was going to pick ahead of time, I would have picked that. Doesn't that sound good? The god Ganesha is one of the most loved of all Hindu gods. Everywhere you turn in modern India, you see joyful elephant-headed deities balancing on one leg, often riding a mouse, pushing away your worries and negativity. This goddess, Parvati, shaped Ganesha from the earth. When her husband Shiva, Lord Shiva, the destroyer, right? He returned and saw a young man with her. He attacked Ganesha in anger, severing his head. Parvati then revealed who Ganesha was, and Shiva sent his soldiers away and instructed them to return with the head of any sleeping being who was facing north. They found an elephant and attached its head to the body of Ganesha, restoring his life. Shiva declared that from then on, Ganesha would always be loved by the community. People invoke his name as a blessing prior to the beginning of major undertakings, like moving, trying out for something, or starting new projects of all kinds. Moving is also something that came up both, I think, in the general reading and definitely in the Taurus full moon reading. Leaving, moving, all both of those. So some of you, that may be why, you were directed to this card. Ganesha is an active god, although many immediately think of him as laid back, as he's often pictured seated and with a sweet on his round belly. In the old stories, he was a brave warrior, fighting demons and dancing wildly, pushing away any obstacles. He carries an axe, which he swings to destroy pride, inertia, and vanity. Ganesha is often seen with Lakshmi, the goddess of prosperity. See, definitely I would have picked this one. I need that. And they are often worshipped side by side, particularly by people with jobs who want the double blessing of a successful business without too many obstacles. A statue or picture of Ganesha in your car assists in avoiding accidents in traffic, and he grants peace to a household should his form be placed at the front door or even the door to your room. Ganesha is also the patron of writers, having penned the Sanskrit Indian epic Mahabharata. Is that the one that's like it's like no, that guy's name begins with an R. Never mind. I can't remember what his name was. But I was thinking that there's like a Hercules-like Indian story that I remember reading. But the guy I'm thinking about, I think it was a prince. His name began with an R. Anyway, never way. But that has nearly 2 million words in total and is the perfect deity to call upon to break the obstacle of writer's block. Any problems, writing papers, working out problems, or finding a job, Ganesha should be able to help you. Shadow side. Ganesha not only takes away obstacles, but he places them too. Remember that sometimes obstacles are in our way in order for us to change direction or to steer toward a path that's best for us. Sometimes, too, we make our own dramas and our own obstacles. Procrastination is just one such way that we create our own pressures and stop our own achievements. We can also focus too much on perceived blocks that we think are there, such as a lack of inspiration or not understanding something, and we let these perceived problems stop us instead of diving in and getting work done. All right, that was Ganesha. For those like me who chose this Himalayan pink rock salt. Our romance card is, oh God, I definitely wouldn't have picked this. Unrequited love. There's not enough attraction to keep, or chemistry to keep this relationship going. Okay. And the god, the deity, Apollo. Inquiry. All right, I like that. I like Apollo. Unrequited love, though, that's whack. All right. I'm actually being a little bit silly. Unrequited love for me can also be about imbalance. So to those others of you who chose number 2, like I did, it doesn't have to necessarily mean that a relationship is not going to work. However, if you've been feeling that it's a relationship where the love is unrequited, it probably is a relationship where the love is unrequited. Apollo, inquiry. Look for the truth in the situation. So yeah, maybe you need to face the truth that it's something that you need to let go. Ask and your questions will be answered. Take the time to uncover and to connect with who you really are and what you really want. Use your inner wisdom. Apollo, son of Zeus and Leto, was one of the most deeply honored gods of the ancient world. The Greeks, the Romans, and even the Celts honored his glowing bringer of light with major temples and sacred places spread throughout Hellenistic and Roman empires. Zeus, father of the Greek gods, fell in love with the nymph Leto, and she became pregnant. Hera, Zeus's wife, naturally wasn't happy, and chased Leto across the world. Hera made sure that there was nowhere safe for Zeus's lover to bear the child by cursing Leto so that she could find no firm ground that would accept her in labor. Happily, the island of Delos, or Delos, Delos, which the Greeks considered a land that moved upon the ocean, accepted Leto. She gave birth to not one, but two babies. The goddess of the hunt, Artemis, was born first and assisted her mother in bringing her twin, Apollo, into the world. Both twins, see, this is appropriate for me. I'm a Gemini, right? This is the sign of the twin. Both twins shoot arrows that can bring favor or death. Apollo is a healer and the god of music. It was said that he created magical songs that could heal illness when sung by humans. Evidence indicates that music was a major feature of his temples and worship. In his role of sun god and light giver, shining Apollo is also the god of prophecy and oracles. See, that's probably why I picked him. The word oracle means to speak through, and sometimes the oracles have indeed been living creatures, often people, through whom the gods relay their messages. The most famous oracle was that of Delphi in ancient Greece, where Apollo was said to speak through a priestess known as the Delphic oracle. Some of the most famous generals and conquerors of the ancient world, including Caesar, Alexander the Great, and Croesus of Lydia, consulted the Delphic oracle. Such was its power and political influence for more than 1,000 years. The priestess sat on a three-legged stool and breathed in the vapors that rose mysteriously from a fissure near a sacred spring. The Greeks considered this beautiful yet somewhat harsh setting to be the closest place on earth to Apollo, and it was known as Omphalos, or the navel of the universe. The Delphic oracle often answered questions with riddles or verse in an unknown language. That's like when I start talking to people in numbers and they're like, huh? The priest or priestess serving the oracle interrupted these answers. However, the oracle always left the ultimate interpretation of true meaning to the person asking the question. This encouraged the asker's inner intuition and wisdom to come into play. You can still visit Delphi today through priests and priestesses that no longer attend the location. It is still an energetically powerful place with amazing ruins and a wonderful museum. When you look to others to advise you, or to an oracle like these cards to give you some insight, know that the final decision is up to you. You have the final say and the power to make good decisions for yourself. Shadow side. Sometimes we don't trust ourselves. We think that all of the answers to our problems are outside of ourselves, and we consult lots of other people for advice. Remember, even though we gain good advice from others, it's ultimately up to ourselves to decide what is best. While Apollo was a great healer, he could also send illness and plague. He did this when displeased, or as a cleanser when a great evil was at work. To those of you who chose the rainbow obsidian, yes, it is not black obsidian, it is rainbow obsidian. You see all the striations. Your romance card is reconciliation. Very nice. And your God is Biami. I just want to say, for those of you who chose number 2 in the unrequited love, particularly for those who were using the cards as a look at your own inner masculine versus feminine, this is imbalance. So you may want to look into some chakra blockages and or other areas where you're nurturing basically half of yourself, or you're overly dependent on your physical side, your physical side, your feminine side rather, and not giving much attention or use to your masculine side. Okay, buy me beauty. Look at the beauty around you. Get outside. Reconnect with the healing power of nature. Here comes the earth energy, right? Capricorn, Virgo, Taurus. In the rural area of Singleton, Australia, lived the first people of the region, the Aborigines of the Wanyura tribal area. The great spirit of these parts is known as Biami. This territory is bountiful and filled with prosperity. Biami, it is said, decided to come down from the sky and created all in this place, from the stunning rivers to the trees to the medicine plants. Every unique animal and bird he created was beautiful and perfect. He carefully crafted many laws for the people to live by in order for them to sustain themselves and a peaceful and beautiful life. He placed these guidelines in the lore stones for the elders to keep. When he completed his work, he returned to the sky from where he came. Humans saw what Biami had made. It was full of splendor, and they were grateful. Biami is normally depicted with huge eyes and no mouth, and he always faces the front. Beauty sometimes does not need to be spoken about, just witnessed with our heads and our hearts. Biami bypasses the normal ways of communicating and speaks straight from his heart to yours. You can visit a famous and moving Wiradjuri rock painting of Biami near Singleton. Although it has been carbon dated at more than 3,000 years old, it is a powerful reminder of the continuing presence of Biami and his protective qualities. If Biami enters your life now, you may want to recognize the beauty that is around you, both that which is physically beautiful and that which enriches your life in other ways. It's time to pause a little and to appreciate the beauty that surrounds you, even when you don't want to or can't immediately recognize it because you're too busy or not feeling connected with the world around you. Shadow side. While beauty isn't always considered a masculine trait, Biami asks us to more deeply appreciate and live within the beauty around us, especially in the natural world. Even though there is irrefutable evidence of climate change and we can clearly see how we have damaged the cycles of nature around us, many of us still do not wish to make changes. We need to really reconnect again with whatever our land is, whether it be a one-bedroom apartment in an urban area or a huge rural property. Biami asked us to obey the laws of good custodianship and to maintain our duty of care for our land. Beauty is everywhere in nature. Should we open ourselves to it? Lastly, those of you who chose the orange or like peach colored selenite, your romance angel card. Ooh, excuse me. Boom. Soulmate. Yes, this is your soulmate. And that's why y'all afraid. Your god is Apuch. Fear. Makes sense. Examine your fears. What is there to be afraid of? You're being asked to confront what frightens you. And for a lot of you, it is soulmate. Like this intense energy of love that you don't know what to do with. Apuch is the Mayan god of the dead. While most cultures have a god ruling over the underworld or death itself, the Mayans had a number of gods ruling over 9 levels of hell, and Apuch was the most feared. He doesn't just show up quietly for you or even wait patiently for your death. He hunts you. Normally pictured as a skeleton or with bones on his head wearing bells, he is the most senior of all Mayan death demons. Living on the lowest level of the underworld, known as the Mitnal, Apuch rises up and stalks city streets at night, looking for his next victim. The Mayans feared death, and they were always aware that Apuch could indeed be waiting around the next bend to take them. In fact, it is said that few people went out on the streets at night because it was difficult to see what lay ahead. They especially avoided going out at night if there was a sickness within their homes, as they greatly feared death through sickness. There's only one way to scare Apuch away, and that is to scream and shout. Testimonies from the Spanish conquistadors include passage describing the loud wailing and screaming of the families of those who were extremely sick or had passed. It seems strange to the Spanish that this noise didn't extend into the daylight hours. What they didn't realize was that the loud protestations were unnecessary to scare away the terrifying Apuch when the sun was up. Should Apuch come ringing his bells, fear may be in your consciousness. What are you most afraid of? Are you afraid of being judged by others? Are you worried about tests, grades, and classes? Do you fear being ridiculed or not measuring up? Examine if your fear is real. If it is something that can truly hurt you, something that you have control over and can change, or something that you can simply re-examine and let go if need be. What can you do to break the hold that fear has on you? All these questions must be considered and answered if you are to move forward with ease and peace. Light side. Death is something people are afraid of. Sometimes we simply fear the death of things, also known as change. Yet death and change are universal. Apuch's energy is very much about the fear surrounding change and the hold that it has upon us. We fear what feels powerless. We fear what we feel powerless to change. Standing strong against any fear, feeling it, shining the light on it, and confronting it is a lesson from Apuch's legend that we can learn. It is far better to act in knowledge rather than to wait for fear to hunt you down. When we know what we fear, we can confront it instead of refusing to think about it and hiding from it in every way. I hope you guys have enjoyed this pick a card for all as it relates to the divine masculine. The last card from the romance deck, that was the overall energy from that for everybody to share, is it is safe for you to love. Open your heart to give and receive the highest energy of all. Please do like, share, comment. And if you are interested in a private reading from me or energy healing or any of the merchandise we have available, as a matter of fact, there is a sale going on that the artist posted, I think on all of my social media and stuff. Do check it out. You can find further information to all of these things in the description box, as well as my social media, so you can become my friend or a follower or whatever you'd like to do. Namaste.